All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Public Utilities Commission meeting for February 27th, 2024. The first item on our agenda is our consent agenda.
Yes, Commissioners, I just have one comment I want to make on the director's report. Just kind of let you know that we did begin the door-to-door campaign for the inventory for the water service. That's going very well. As of February 16th, we had verified all portions of about 1,500 services. So that's both the utility side and also the customer side. And we estimate we have about 5,300 service connections. So, if anybody's watching, we're sending out, letters, and there's been bill stuffers with a QR code, or they can just call into the water department and, set up an appointment. But so if any of you need to do it yet, please do. That's all I had.
Okay.
I'll offer the motion to approve the consent agenda items.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The second list is item on our agenda is a report from office, the annual distribution of energy resources report.
Good evening. So in front of you is a yearly report that I send off to the Department of Commerce. And last year and possibly the year before that, I also brought that to you. So it's Distributed Energy Resources, DER, which could be anything interconnected in the utility, okay? So what this report really covers only is solar, because that's pretty much the only thing interconnected into the utility. So I summarize kind of what the report. Well, one of the attachments is actually the report, the whole report. Just stating how many facilities are interconnected, their sizes when they were interconnected, if there was a rebate associated with that. And they look at that for numerous reasons, for different reports that they do within the Department of Commerce. So I just kind of attached to the overview of the agenda item, kind of a summary. There's been 31 applications that have been submitted to utilities since 2006. One of those has been decommissioned, and that was actually the initial solar install that was conducted in 2006. We had 9 new commissionings of solar this past year. So there's been a total of 28 active contracts out there with the utility, but the way it's reported to the state, initially, each time someone was putting solar on their home or their business, there was a separate contract. Now the way they look at it is if someone installs solar 1 year and 2 years later, they install an additional capacity on their home or business, that initial contract is voided out, and that system is combined into a new contract. So it gets kind of skewed when you report to the state and someone would say, well, how many solar locations are in New Ulm? Well, we have X amount of contracts with people, but we actually have 25 separate locations. So within New Ulm, there's 25 locations that have solar, and the total capacity is 292.786 kilowatts of AC power that's interconnected into the utility. So that's just here to report to you on that. As a municipal utility, we have one of 2 ways to report this. Either bring it to the governing body, the commission here, or report it to the state. I do both, so.
Derek,
about it.
is 9 installs, is that the most we've had in 1 year?
In 1 year, yeah.
Is it? Okay.
And I'm sure next year I will be more, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
We have 1 active application from this last year that I'm thinking is still going to get done. It's kind of in limbo at the moment with the homeowner, but I'm thinking they're going to proceed with it. So that's active now, but it will count towards being, commissioned next year. And then an additional the EDA is looking at some locations next year. So those are 7 locations. So there's 8 right there I can think of. So, yep. Any additional questions?
I'll offer the motion to approve the 2023 Annual Distribution Energy Resources Report.
I'll second them.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. Next item is the Employee of the Month recognition.
Yes, our Employee of the Month is Jagger Hoffmann. Jagger works in the gas department. He shows his leadership in the department through his eagerness and willingness to take on any project he is asked to do and suggestions on how to improve. He's willing and able to perform any task he's given. He's usually the first one of the employees to work, and he's ready to start his workday. He has performed well as the corrosion tech and is taking full responsibility of the cathodic protection system. He has pursued the education necessary to understand the job and has done a great job by applying this knowledge to a practical application in the field. He's learned all aspects of the gas department and is looked for help in the department when new technologies are introduced. So I'd like to congratulate Jagger Hoffmann.
Congratulations.
I'll make a motion to recognize Jagger Hoffmann, an Employee of the Month for January 2024.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Not all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Again, congratulations, Jagger. Next item up is the gas turbine control upgrade.
Good afternoon, everyone. Like I say, we are looking at upgrading controls on number 7 gas turbine. We did receive 3 bids for it. Turbine diagnostics was, I don't know if you reviewed them, was obviously out of range quite a ways, but they had a little different way of looking at everything too. They basically gutted everything, put all new MCCs in, so they were a little bit, they kind of overthought the scope of it a little bit, so that kind of explains why they were so far out of range. The other 2 bids, Case RMC and HPI, were very close together. Basically 30,000 separates them. The backstory of doing this unit was installed in 2001. Nothing's been done to it since. The biggest problem is the SPC, which is a station program controller. It's basically from the 60s and 70s technology. You can't get the cards anymore that go in them. So the problem is if you can't get them, the unit goes down and we're going to be out of the market. And we're looking at nearly a year's time to get this whole project done. So I don't believe we should leave it out of service that long. So that's why we've been talking about this for several years, but now we're finally going forward with it. The good news is then we do have a spare for the other unit as far as the station program controller goes. So, and we get the spare mod valve. So we get some parts out of this to make number 5 last a lot longer. So, but I think we did a pretty good job of comparing apples to apples here. And HPI did come in with a low bid, was $661,124.91. They have a turnkey operation compared to the other ones where we would have had to supply all the labor. So that wasn't even included on the Case RMC bid. I believe it's the best value for the dollar on this project. Leaving, we won't have any problems with emissions because we are not changing the capacity of the unit. We would have had other issues if we would have actually increased the megawatts on it. But everything is staying the same as far as that goes, so there should be no issues with the MPCA. Yeah, I don't know if you got any questions about it.
If I could just make one note as well. This item also was one of the items that was in the IIJA funding that we asked for and weren't able to get. So we're still pursuing those projects, but through our own cash flow, so.
How many turbines do we have?
We have 4 electrical turbines. We have 2 steam turbines down at the plant, and then these 2 gas turbines down at the other site. 5 and 7 are They're both FT4s. They're almost identical units, but 7 has water injection on it because it's a newer unit. So there's a little more involved compared. 5 has basically been grandfathered in on all the MPCA rules. But 7 is, like I say, a newer unit, so it has a little tighter controls on it for NOx and various pollutants, so.
How many are online at any one time?
We're a peaking plant, so MISO calls these 5 and 7, the gas turbines have to be online in about 10 minutes. And the other 2 units, the steamers, have a 24-hour call up on them. But at any one time, they're not online. We run the steamers every year for about 4 weeks just to have practice with them. We have to prove that we have capacity to MISO. So we'll do an urge test on them and say, we can get 25 megawatts out. This is what we can give the system, and we have to prove that. But otherwise, yeah, we're a peaking plant, so they're not on. The boilers are online, but not the generators.
So the value really to 5 and 7, as well as the internal, is the capacity that we have on those units. If we didn't have that capacity, we would have to go out into the market to purchase it. And so the value for all 4 of them is in the capacity, and then the additional value in 5 and 7 is the fact that we are attached to the MISO market. So if we are called, we can run, and we get reimbursed for the costs and some margin on that from MISO.
And this was in the budget, right?
Yes. I had,
But over.
it went over a little, but because originally 2 years ago I had gotten rough bids for it, and it was like $432,000 they had quoted me. Well, obviously we went through the grant process, got denied. Inflation obviously took a big hit. So, like I say, I had $500,000 in it originally, and part of this is it's on that agenda. I want to cancel. I was going to do some windows to the power plant, and I feel that money is better spent on this project and push the windows off. So I'd take that $50,000 that I had set for a capital item there and put it into this budget. Any other question?
No. I'll offer the motion to authorize the city manager to accept and sign the proposal for HPI Energy Services in the amount of $661,124.91 for the number 7 gas turbine controls upgrade.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we're on to the water treatment plant filter assessment.
Yeah, this is action item is to do an assessment on the filters in the water plant. As you can see, the water plant was put in service in 1994. We have replaced the media once before in 2009. The media, believe it or not, does actually wear out, and this assessment is to decide when the optimum time it would be to replace it again. But also with some of the more modern medias, we may be able to reduce some chemical expense and O&M costs. So we will be looking at, right now they're planning on 4 different medias and our current media that we have. So we'll be comparing 5 different products. And again, this will be the first step, and I didn't put it in the action item, but we also will be doing a condition assessment, or like we did for wastewater, for the whole water facility, and this will be an addendum to that report. If you got any more questions, be happy to try to ask them, but
So this isn't, what you're trying to do is optimize the
Try and-
material that you're going to use to make it more efficient?
right, and get the best removal, lowest cost, and increase our run times between backwashes to get the most value for our money. And again, the new stuff may even allow us to eliminate 1 or 2 chemicals within the plant, which is always a good thing.
I'll offer the motion to accept the proposal from Short, Elliott, and Hendrickson for a water treatment plant filter assessment in the amount of $38,250.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is the year-end carryovers. Beth?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. We are asking you today to approve the year-end budget carryovers for the year ended December 31st, 2023. This is something that we do every year. We take a look at our purchase orders and budgeting and carry over some of those items into this year. So we have I think substantially more than we did in the year prior. I think that is in part to lead times and things like that. It's been difficult to get those projects finished. So they are all listed there by fund. All the funds are there: electric, gas, water, wastewater, and administration.
I'll offer the motion to approve the year-end budget carryovers for the year ended December 31st, 2023.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and second. Any further discussion? Not all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Last item up is a report of claims.
I'll offer the motion to accept the list of claims paid in the amount of $3,869,657.05.
Second.
second. Oh, got me.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the list of claims? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Does anybody have any ending comments? No, we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.